I will.
In the meeting of March 27, 2023, please rise and salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Hanlon.
Here.
Councilman Lewandowski.
Here.
Councilman Niles.
Here.
Supervisor Miller.
Here. We'll start off this part of the meeting. We're gonna have a little presentation from Tracy Clothier, our grant writer, was canceled during the storm. She didn't want to come to Lake Luzerne and all that snow. Tracy, it might be easy if you come to this table and have a mic there.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe move that down for that.
Oh, there we go. So I came here tonight just to give you a quick overview of where we are with the comprehensive plan and what our next move is. We had 8 committee meetings and 2 public meetings, sent out a survey, and which we're all very happy with. And I continue to receive all kinds of emails from people in the community. One was most recently all about a bike trail throughout the community, along with a map. So, I mean, there's been a lot of different input. And I don't know about you all, but I'm very happy with it. I know many of you came to the public meetings or one or more, and we had such good input. So I feel like we accessed the public very well. They communicated in the survey extremely well, and we were able to consolidate those opinions and work on them as a committee. And I'm happy with the result, and I certainly hope you are too. I finished the draft. Jean actually printed out an entire copy. Not even I did. Oh, did you? And this is an initial draft, which I will send to all of, well, I'll send it first to Cynthia, and then you can send it out to the board. So Drew and his helper assistant are actually putting some graphics together. So it'll be graphically interesting and a nice document. A lot of it is the appendix. It's like 80 pages because it contains all of our meeting summaries, and as part of a comprehensive plan, it's important to show they had all these meetings and what people said. So all the comments are in the back. But our findings basically were that this is an amazing community. You've got all the right ingredients for a very healthy and sustainable community. There's just some catch up to all the different changes that have happened in culture and just the general culture out there. And as time has gone by, all communities have to adjust and change. So that's really what we focused on. Also, the committee was very focused on implementation. We want this to have wheels. We want it to move forward. We don't want all our work to fall on just to be put on a shelf, as they say. So we concentrated a 10-point priority project list, the first one being implementation. And what we'd like to suggest to the board is that you assign an implementation committee, which can be the core committee that's already there. Whoever wants to continue can continue. And we had very good feedback about people wanting to stay part of it. And people can come in and out and you know, bring forth projects, but basically their job would be to bring projects to the town board, and they will outline costs and potential grants so that you have an idea of what to budget for and think about in the future. So the first project was this implementation committee. That and putting it as an agenda item is also would be great. I mean, they don't have to appear every month, but it can as a common agenda item, monthly agenda item, what's new with the committee. That shows that you are always thinking about it and moving forward. The second project is the community playground, and we wanted to find a priority project that was tangible, right? Something that the community can see and feel and take part of and get excited about, right? So you want them to get excited about it because it's something you can actually do. You can finish it. It's a showpiece, and then people are behind you. You get support from the community. They want to do the next thing, and it all sort of, builds upon itself. And I have a colleague who is a landscape architect who has agreed. He lives in town with 2 children, wife and 2 children, and he's agreed to play a part in this and take a lead role. He knows all about siting it. And I was down at the Pavilion Park a few minutes ago where it got dark and looking at the site, and there are a few areas where it can certainly go, as long as you don't go crazy tying it on. I think there are some good places it can go, and there's some places that just can't go. But anyway, he's a dynamo in terms of siting, finding out resources for getting it. There are grants out there for it, but largely the idea was that the community would help build it. So you'd find a model that people would get involved with and continue. So I'm excited about that, and so are they. The next 2 items are really underway, but we felt that if they didn't move forward fast enough, at least they're in here. This is your support for them for another grant application or whatever. The first one is this application to put herbicide Priscillacor into Lake Luzerne to control the Eurasian water milfoil. That's underway. I believe it's in. Is that correct, Jim? It's been submitted to the Adirondack Park Agency, and you've read the paper. There's controversy at Lake George, which may impact our own application. Nonetheless, we want it in here supporting that this is happening. The next one is the water district system rehabilitation, which has been ongoing for several years, trying to get grants. And Jean and I have been working on a series of steps to take to get interest in having the government partly pay for this. So that is ongoing. We want to make sure it's in here supporting it. The 5th one is to update the zoning ordinance, zoning map, and subdivision regs. And it's not something that we could have done as part of this plan because it was so in depth. And we sat down and looked at all kinds of things that need to be cleared up in the definitions and ordinance in general. And we said, oh yeah, that's a separate effort. And there is funding for that. We hope this year. I applied for money to have it done in July of last year, and we were not funded. They said they wanted you to be done with the comp plan first. So it's highly competitive, but we'll keep trying. And any efforts with people on trying to change zoning districts for projects and that kind of a thing, that's where that will be, looked at. But we did not look at individual parcels such as the one up in Lake Benar. It's way over the top for a comprehensive plan. So that initiative will be thought through when this effort is funded and ready to go. And the next 2 are related to business attraction, retention, branding, and marketing. This is something that, you're having difficulty with because all small downtowns are having trouble with the same thing. Who are we now as the demographics have changed and, people coming into town have changed. Tourism is completely different. Most places want to, attract a visitor and their family and hold them on the property. They really don't want to say, oh, go over to Lake Luzerne and take a ride and go do stuff. They want to hold your money right there. And this is very common. So you're always fighting that and trying to come up with a business attraction model that is that utilizes all of the wonderful attractions that are here. And I have to tell you, I think it's extraordinary. The variety of attractions for families and this outdoor experience type of thing is very hot right now. And I think you can take advantage of it. But it will take an effort, an organized effort. And again, it's planning, and I'm sorry about that, but almost every project requires more planning. It just does. You have to think. A comprehensive plan is comprehensive, and it's thinking about a lot of different things, and it's hard to get everybody on the same page in consensus of even coming up with 10 main projects. So this is a big deal, you know, hiring a company that does this type of work and really digging in on how we can take this downtown and those derelict properties and others and turn them into you know, attractions or stores that are consistent with what you already have. And, you know, you look at Hotopia, you look at the Hitching Post, I'll just call it Hitching Post for now. The Hitching Post, Hotopia, and my gosh, the folk school and its expansion. This is really bringing so many people to Lake Luzerne that will want to have, you know, have a variety store or something like that downtown, and a bar, restaurant, that kind of a thing. That doesn't just happen. There's a lot of thought that goes through that, and you need to dig a little deeper. So I have a couple of projects relating to another one is this Route 9 corridor study. A lot of people talked about that in the public, about how they'd like to see it entry into, you know, more identity for Lake Vinar and Fourth Lake. And even down here in the Route 9 corridor downtown here, before you go over the bridge. You know, what is that area? You know, what history is there? Give it some identity with signage and perhaps some landscaping, trees, whatever. And there's money through I spoke to the Adirondack Glens Falls Transportation Corp, and they have funding for this type of program. You just have to let them know that this is what you want to do. They put it on their list like a tip, like on the Transportation Improvement Plan. It goes on there, and you are considered for funding as they have it. So that's a big deal, this corridor study, and can do a lot for the community in terms of signage and what have you. And you know, speaking of signage, if you think about it, if you go downtown, and you have to turn at the school to go to downtown, what I think of as downtown, there's no good signage there to say that's what's going on down there. And there can be some really nice identification signage, get people to turn off Route 9 and get down there and do their thing. The ninth one is the historic and cultural interpretive strategy. And that is pretty much underway with the first wilderness heritage corridor from Warren County. I mean, it's so well developed, and it's taking it to the next step in terms of, I know Pam Warren has been very much into the Dude Ranch Scenic Byway and reestablishing that, and telling the story about Lake Luzerne more cohesively. People know little bits and pieces, but they don't know the entire story of it, right? And why is it here? You know, really getting it at people. And the last of the 10 special projects is a community housing needs assessment. This is evolving in the county. You know, I've been reading quite a bit about it. The county has initiated a housing forum, or I don't know what they're calling it, but some planning initiative where they're looking at Warren County and looking at everything from Airbnbs to affordable housing for working families and seniors in particular, because literally every small community has this problem. And the competition between Airbnbs is there. That's just one part of the story. You have a lot of people coming up from the metropolitan area that have easy cash to spend, and they'll buy up a house that maybe a plumber or a school teacher or a nurse might buy. They're not going to be available because they're going to be outbid. And this is so common. So the county has finally said, okay, we're going to look at this seriously and see if we can come up with some solutions. So whatever we do here is maybe just a start by doing a community needs assessment, like a windshield survey of what is going on out there. But we have to carefully watch what's going on in the county. And with the Adirondack Housing Trust, and I was at a meeting in Saratoga Springs last week and ran into the Habitat for Humanity people in Saratoga. I think they're going to come make a presentation here. Is that right?
Haven't heard of it.
No? So I'll have to follow up on that, but they are going around to different communities, and I think you're the most northern one for them, to see how they can help maybe establish some Habitat for Humanity homes. But you know, a little is gonna go a long way here. You don't need an apartment building.
Right.
You know, you're gonna have to small incremental things that are gonna make a difference. So those are the top 10 projects. There's a lot more in there as Jean is looking at it. It's not that big. As I said, 80 pages are really the appendix. But it's a good read, and there are many other projects and recommendations in the report itself. I just read you the top 10 because we really believe those are the ones you should move forward. And it won't be 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll be however the funding comes, you know, wherever the interest is, and the ability or feasibility of moving something forward. But it's a pretty varied list. And now I'm going to be quiet and let you ask any questions you'd like.
What do you see as the schedule for moving this forward?
Well, I have sent it to the county, Warren County, and they are going to, they're doing their own look over, and they'll be done by the end of the week. And then they do a full county 239 review, which if you're going to adopt this plan, you have to have a county 239 review, it's called, which means it takes them at least a month to
Hash it over.
yes. Generally, there's no issue, but it still has to, that's the state statute says that you have to go through this 239 review. So Ethan Gaddy, who's now the planning director, didn't get back to me about a time frame, but I mean, you can only imagine the minute you give it over to an agency, you have to wait. So I think that the most reasonable time frame is a public hearing on write it down your May meeting, which I think is the 8th. Right, the 8th.
Might be. So for
So-
second.
Good
Monday.
possibility.
Yeah, second Monday, so
Yeah.
the 8th.
Yes.
is second
Yeah.
Monday.
Yes, because you go through that. I do Mary and I have touched base on the seeker review, which I will write the forms out and provide them to you, and you just have to go through the seeker review. I don't see any issue with it at all as a planning document. I don't see you just gonna go through this with the questions and answers and that kind of thing, and you'll be done. And so I think that if you had a public hearing at the May meeting, that would finalize it. You would adopt it. You'd have a public meeting, a public hearing rather, formal public hearing, and you have to notice it. So I have to have enough time from the county to notice it. But
Will they have their end done by then?
Yeah.
well, I don't know.
No, I don't think it.
Before the public hearing, we would post this publicly,
Yes.
to let the public digest it.
Yes.
Even the part, I know, I saw there was a part about dying the septic systems around the lake. If I scan one of the sheets, I looked real quick, I saw that. Because there's a lot of things in there that, they're gonna want to digest and look at it
Mhm.
very carefully. So as long as
Yeah,
there's
I
a,
think that was a consider. wasn't like a hard fast.
I saw it because everybody skipped right over it in a page turn, but I noticed it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna make sure people
Yes.
know what's going on.
Yes, absolutely.
Will the county make changes in it?
Not like.
No, like, so I can have maybe Colleen print a couple of these out tomorrow. So that all board members get it. I know they all got it on your report, but printing it out, it's a lot.
Should we wait
That's
to
why.
get it back to the county before we have our public hearing? Or-
I would.
I would.
That's putting the cart in front of the horse if you have
Oh,
that. That's just makes common sense. You don't release anything to get approved.
June. Set up.
Yeah,
This is almost April.
I think,
Yeah,
I'd like to post it for at least like 30 days at least for people to
Yeah.
look at it. You gotta be fair. I mean, you got people time to look at it.
It's not a big deal to wait.
right, I
then-
was just gonna say, there's no reason to rush.
There's no reason to rush. You don't have any work to do. The committee's done. And anyway, you want to proceed with the playground anyway. So I think that's going to just have its own independent.
I think we go for the June meeting pending the paperwork from the county.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just so the board knows, we did get 4 or 5 responses from committee members that said they would love to serve on the implementation committee. So we have people that'll help us with that.
Right. I mean, you could think about some people would want to be involved in the playground. Some people might want to be involved in economic development, initiatives and that kind of a thing. So it may not be every person every time, but you have a nice group of people that you assembled that I think had a good experience.
Yeah.
Believe they did.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they were positive, so they may want to come in and out and in and out, and it might be we talked on the committee about, do you establish a new committee? And I don't know that you do that because you have so many committed people already that want to stay with this.
Yeah, I think you should keep them all. They've went over it for a year.
Hey, Tracy, while we got you here. Where it seems, and I know it's not really part of this. But where do we having the problems in regards to getting grants? Okay,
Well,
different grants that we have filed for with unsuccessful. Okay, and I'm curious, is it because of the economic between permanent residents and the so-called summer people throwing our finance index out?
Well,
Or-
it can, Paul, it can be that, a lot of the grants are highly competitive. And they're based on the ones who have the worst hardship. All right, so here you are, Lake Luzerne, right at the mean household income level, right? And it's just recently seems to have shifted into that you are eligible, but that doesn't mean that you go get it.
Right,
Because it means that all these other communities are worse off than you. And another community that has the same problem is Fort Anne. They have a summer population who have a higher income, and
Right.
it skews it skews that, and so.
Was it
so
Hadlock
many-
Pond? Hadlock Pond?
Hadlock Pond and Lake George.
Yeah,
Pilot Knob.
the west
Yeah.
side of the lake.
And they have no other, they don't have a huge commercial base, so they're,
It's Washington County, they're hurting. The
They're
taxes are
hurting.
so high, they have nothing but
Well,
what?
notice they're
Three prisons, 3 jails. It's the county jail and the 2 state ones. That's all the only really thing they have going on.
Yeah.
Well, they
And-
have more than that. I'm exaggerating.
Kind of curious, I know we have filed for numerous ones with not much success.
Well, you file for the water treatment. That one is really based on distressed communities, and there are so many ahead of you. Then there's only so much money.
Yeah,
And quite frankly, they haven't put more money in. And the projects that they have are costing more, so gobbling up more of the money, so fewer places can get in. That's how it's explained to me. But they say is just keep putting in the same application and.
have you looked at the situation that Hochul, our governor, has put out for housing?
Yes, I did
Okay.
look at that. The other day I read it, yeah.
And that's quite a large one. throughout New York State to get housing, low-income housing situations in. Okay, and, I didn't know if you had, you know, gotten any review on that or any information yet, looked at it, you know, it hasn't been out that long.
Right. Well, I think it'll all go through, what they call CDBG. Don't ask me what that stands for, but there's a few programs in New York State will go filter down through, and that will be one of them.
BG's block grant, right?
Offering, yeah. And we have that, I think it's section, or chapter 6 in the report that talks about all the grant programs.
Okay.
But, you know, all I can say is it's very competitive, and most of them now are based on, not that you've done well before, it's how bad off are you? You know what I mean? That's just the reality of it, because there's so many you've seen North Creek got something, or Johnsburg, Ticonderoga did, Cambridge. These are communities that do not have the resources that you do. You know, you may feel poor sometimes, but you're not even close to some of these, Whitehall, these communities are
How do we
struggling.
change that?
Well,
Yeah,
You're talking 70,000 versus 50,000 in a couple of numbers.
I
Yeah.
know.
yes, yes.
To be exact, I think it was 54.
Yeah,
Well, the water grant should be done in April. This will be the third year. The other 2 years we lost it because of I don't want to say it, but like the summer people, they get lower points on it because they're summer people. It's not their fault that they're summer people, but well, we have to do the water. It's gonna go right past their properties and they'll be using it, but so we're hoping this year might be we can. Cause I know
just-
Warrensburg had one almost like ours, and on the third time you got lucky, you got some.
Yeah,
So we're waiting for the end of April or middle of April,
Yeah.
whatever that comes.
you have to be.
So we've been working with Tracy on another option to borrow money. Problem with that is we figured out already that would probably, for the water, the money is available. It's about 2.5 or 2.4 interest over 25 years, but it would add roughly, don't hold me to this because we don't know for sure yet, but it would roughly add about $500 to the water bill to these people so it's such a small entity. It's not the whole town, it's just a water district.
Yeah.
That plus we already charged $150. So you're talking, it could be $650 a year. And
Oh, I know what
that's
you're
the things
saying.
we gotta worry about. Now, a lot
Yeah.
of single family or
And It
seniors,
goes by your house,
you know.
and even if you don't tap in, you're gonna get charged for it.
so.
Well, you
it-
saw
it-
what happened to Cambridge.
Yeah, they
Turned
turned
back the
down.
money because it exceeded the ability of the people in the district to
Hey.
pay for the services. So when you meet that threshold, you're in trouble. And so Jean and I have devised several ways of matching the money, should we get it from the state, Environmental Facilities Corps. We're looking for money from Schumer,
Gillibrand,
Gillibrand,
Stefanik.
and Stefanik, that's right, she's still in this district, so I wrote grants to each of those three different grants. They sit on different committees for which this project can be a part of, is eligible. They say the more you apply for with the federal, the better. And they all know because they have a check mark on each of their applications. Who else did you send this to? So they can coordinate.
Okay.
So we're thinking that if we get one of those to break our way, that money can be used against the Environmental Facilities Corps.
Okay,
And two out of those three, since we sent those letters out, I've gotten requests for donations for their campagns.
Oh, there we go.
Gillibrand and Stefanik.
yeah, what's that? One hand wash the other?
It sounds like that.
It's fishy.
So,
And then the third option is through the USDA, who has this low interest loan that could also supplement it. And Chris Hunsinger, who runs that program, sat with us and talked about how he could put the two together so that we're not throwing our hands in the air going, what, how do we do this? He'll put it together for us. So we've got that. And, when I come back from vacation, I'll get going on the USDA grant.
There was a big thing on the TV, I'll say a week ago, on the lead. That's another problem we have. We have
Well,
to,
that's been going on up on television quite a bit.
it's starting to, and,
Albany is-
we're gonna have to get money to research, these homes that might have lead pipes in.
Albany and Troy, well, it's the Troy people that are really up in arms
Yeah.
because they got the money and they haven't used it.
It's a huge number.
Huh?
It's a big number.
Big number.
Tracy, I had another question, flip flopping back to the master plan. Can you give us your brief synopsis on how you thought the committee felt about short-term rental regulation?
Well, I think some people had personal experiences that were less than great. And they feel that there should be some rules and regulations around it. I don't remember that. Did we talk about it a lot? I mean,
Once that I recall, I missed a couple meetings, but there was one night where it was talked about.
right. So people either had a negative experience or knew somebody who had a negative experience. And again, this is a problem that is, they're all talking about it. I just facilitated a meeting in Bolton Landing. That was a lot cheered on that, and, there's no solving it. It's like many zoning issues. You're not gonna solve it, but you can find ways of addressing the worst of the problem. But a lot of communities now are limiting the number of short-term rentals that can be in the community because they're really afraid. So many have taken out the affordable houses that are in the community. They've just taken them out of commission, and that really upsets the balance of the community. So they have, I just read about this today. Some communities are just limiting it to a certain number, and then that's it.
I've had a couple of residents ask me if we're gonna do that. We did discuss it probably a year ago, chose not to. So we thought it would be kind of arbitrary and might not hold up. We said 150.
Or you set a date.
Yeah.
After this date, there's no more new. Then all of a sudden you force, then what'll happen, they'll just go back to undercover. They'll just do it that way, that's all. They'll just do it anyways and just not pay the tax, bed tax, like they've been doing it all this time.
Get around
That's
it.
my uncle renting a house.
There
And
you
There
go.
you
that's how
go.
they get around.
They're my guests. It's not up to you to decide who I have in my house.
Well,
So-
there are goods and bads to it. If you can't hold up a house that's sitting there empty and wait for an affordable housing person or family to come along and buy it. You can't do that to people. It's gotta be for sale or it's gotta be for rent. You have to enable the people, and it's better to have a house that has people in it than people that aren't in it. And this may run its cycle anyway. It's gonna run its,
There's some evidence of that already.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna run its cycle. And people go back to staying at Jeans. Hotels.
I think the water will find its own level with it. The market finds its own level. It will find its own level. But I think there's other factors too, like liquidity in the banks. Right now, there's a big thing. There's watching the news, liquidity is drying up. I mean, drying up. And yet Credit Suisse is done, and you have banks like that folding. We have issues coming up in the future, which I think are going to determine this.
Mhm.
Resale value. They say, well, I want 1.5 million for that place as an STR, and you just can't get the funding. They're not gonna get the sale that they realize in their mind. But the water will find its own level. I mean, it'll sort itself out, I believe,
Yeah.
different factors and,
Well, it happened a number of years ago too.
yep.
It wasn't STRs or that type of situation. It was just the economy
Yep.
making it swing.
7 and 8.
Yeah.
Let's just hope it doesn't get too crazy with what's going on.
Yeah.
Cause it's going nuts.
I just want to say that I think Tracy and Drew have done a really nice job so far with this project.
Can't complain about that.
the amount of information that they have collected, statistics and data. And the constructive attitude of the two public meetings. You know, the way that they've taken that input and infused it into this plan, just. I'm pretty confident that we're pretty close to a document we can be proud of and that we can really use.
Thank you, Jim. It's action oriented.
Yeah.
You know, it's something you can actually
Concrete.
you can do stuff that actually add up, and it's time. You know, you don't have to do it all at once, but these things incrementally can work together to bring what you want. At least one restaurant. But
I
we
think-
can't pluck it out of the sky. It's not gonna just happen. People open up restaurants because they think they can make money, not lose money. So you have, the only thing you have control over is providing the environment. People want to live here. They want to visit here. We need to build that day visitorship. And with the Adirondack School and the camp and all the other new initiatives around, I think that's going to happen on its own anyway. But these are projects that can boost it and make it all come to fruition, I believe.
I kind of see our town government being in a position to be a catalyst,
Mhm.
to kind of plant a little seed. We can't afford to build a restaurant, but we can plant a seed to get a restaurant to come into town, you know. It might not take all that much to plant those seeds, you know, I mean, some of these suggestions are expensive, right? That doesn't mean the town has to pay for all of them.
Right.
So I'm not intimidated by the potential cost of it, because I think once it gets going, it will fund itself.
I totally agree with you. I mean, you have two businesses that you are kind of a curiosity. The Nettle Meadow and the Hutopia. Wow, who has that in their community? Nobody I know. You know, like I said before, when you look at the ingredients that are part of Lake Luzerne, two rivers, trail systems, wonderful rafting companies, historic features, etc. It's pretty amazing.
The Utopia company is out of town company,
From
right?
France.
It's international.
International.
From France.
That picked Luzerne
Yes.
for one of their places to do business.
You'd probably never find out, but I would tell you, I've been up there at tours of it. They didn't put in $5 million into
Oh,
that
places.
property. They didn't put $1.
Place is nice.
Oh,
And I mean, well done, roads well done, culverts well done, buildings well done. You know, This should be their really prime year coming up, because they
Plumbing
just
and-
do a culvert.
the plumbing and the electrical in that place, the plumbing and the electrical and that was over 2.5.
So they had the money to put in. And we're lucky for that, so we have to support them as much as we can.
That's a lot of campers. I don't know what it costs per night, but
It's on the internet.
So right now, the ball's kind of in your court, right? You're gonna be working on the seeker, you're gonna chase the county.
yes, the county has the document that I gave you, which is not the final document. Drew's team is, you know, adding photographs and dolling it up. That's just mine. That's just my Word document, so that you can get through and as you wish, and so I will be following up with the county and doing the seeker. Yep, all right.
Thank you,
Right,
Tracy.
Tracy,
for
thank you very
everything you've
much.
done.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy.
Enjoy your VA.
All right. Tim, anything from you that you can add to this?
I really have nothing this time, other than everything I said, but I'm good.
Paul?
Nothing on what we just discussed. Um. I stopped down at Buildings and Grounds. I noticed they've got a number of projects that you have implemented down there. Okay,
Which one?
well, new picnic tables, where are they going?
Well, in the park for
In the
the,
park?
for the, food trucks.
Okay.
We're gonna
Uh,
make them out of logs and, a flat top on them. That's all we're making. We're not making tables.
they made tables.
Oh, they made some, well, we need a couple tables. If
then-
you're gonna have food trucks, we gotta have somebody.
You got one, planner or something going up on Hartman Hill?
Hartman Hill. No, the planter that's there, I want fence around it like we have the rest of them, so they can put some flowers in it. Looks so plain out there.
Well, planner. Okay, I just wondering because I know throughout the course of winter, I've stopped down there and. You know, you've implemented a couple of number of things and I was just kind of curious, you know, why, you know, you didn't discuss them with the board, I guess. You know,
We've been mentioning it. I don't,
okay,
it's things to keep them busy and get done.
Okay.
You know about the,
I'm not trying to pick on you, don't get me wrong. Ed,
Well,
or-
you're asking a question, I'm trying to answer it.
Okay,
The kiosk has been in progress for almost 6 months. The money came from the county. We had to build it.
right,
We knew that. The tables, I just talked to them about it last week, when this food truck is starting to go. I mean, if you're looking on things, I keep working. I don't stop working.
fine. I just would like to be aware of it, and not just stop down there and say, geez, what are you guys building now? They build all the new, what would you call them, ramps for disposing up at the,
Transfer station, we talked
Transfer
about that
station.
here to get something higher because the people can't.
but we
reach
talked
up.
about getting rid of those and going with low bed, containers. And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, they're up there building ramps to get up to the high ones.
Because that's what the ones that they take paper and cardboard, not cardboard, paper and magazines.
Okay,
The low ones don't take paper, they're taking the cardboard right now.
okay, thank you.
Tim, you have something?
A couple updates for everybody. Um, As Tracy said, the Priscilla applications are in. Today we put some info on the website. Check it out. Click on the thing that says controlling erosion milfoil, and you'll see the documents that we approved to mail out and stuff. The APA has been asking our contractor questions, so it's in progress. Short-term rental. How we coming?
I'll have something for you by the weekend.
Okay. That, I think, is something we should try to wrap up. I agree, the master plan, there's no rush, but I think short-term rental, you know, someone, there's major problems with it. With the document, which we've been on for a year. I think we should push that ahead. Push that forward. The Chamber of Commerce, do they know about the Warren County advertising video
Yeah, I have-
campaign that Jesse and his
I have,
partner?
I have some
You gonna talk
information.
about
on it. Mhm.
Okay. Just a reminder, where are we at with getting a vehicle for Jeff? Not that it came up, not there's an urgency, I'm just bringing it up so we don't forget it.
Well, we're waiting for the procurement policy to be done. It's done now. So we have to
Okay.
decide to get them one. My idea, and I brought it in front of this board, was getting the ladies a different vehicle to travel around and give them the Jeep that's in the garage. It's old, but it doesn't have a lot of miles on it, and I think it's all it needs. But as soon as we can have a workshop or something to discuss it, wait,
What do you guys think? I think we ought to go ahead,
With what?
get a used vehicle so that, what are we paying, Paul? We're paying enough mileage to Jeff to buy something.
You're basically paying somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 a month for Jeff to drive his own vehicle
500,
a month,
yeah.
250 every 2 weeks.
Yeah, we have,
For
we
miles.
just said we have the used Jeep, right?
We've got.
We
the
have it
Jeep.
already. We already have a vehicle. So why are we spending
Yeah,
more?
but that's used by zoning and.
Okay,
And.
I say we give him that and get Aaron and Meals on Wheels something to use different because,
It's the assessor's office and the zoning office that is
Such a-
using it.
yeah, Chris is gonna be out there hopefully a little more this summer. Okay, taking care of things. And if the STR situation goes on, there's a vehicle to be able to use for that also.
Are you, Gene and Paul saying the same thing?
Yep,
So what do we need to wait for?
so if they give the word to move ahead, we can't buy, we're not gonna buy a new one. I think we should just buy a used one.
Well, our new procurement policy says used vehicles, you can spend 20 grand as long as you get some documentation that the
Right.
price is fair, like
Yeah.
NADA or something like
Or
that.
the blue books on.
We will definitely need, at a minimum, an all-wheel drive
Yeah.
vehicle. And I don't know that you're gonna get
That's definitely.
No, we're gonna buy you a Cooper.
too many used
Yeah.
vehicles for around $20,000 that are
No,
fairly decent. So just keep that in mind, but we definitely need an all-wheel drive vehicle because we've had problems. Melissa popped a tire on her own vehicle going into job sites.
should start looking into it, definitely.
So we need something that's got
Yeah,
at
we
least
know.
all-wheel drive.
If everybody's agreeable, then I would propose that I make a motion that we authorize the supervisor to proceed.
yeah, no, it's not a board meeting.
The board members can help me out on that. So,
Want to make the resolution, create it.
Yeah.
Create it.
That's gonna be for the next one.
Yeah. I don't see any sense in losing another month.
Let's have it at the next meeting. Let's get back to doing resolutions at meetings. I'd like to do that.
Yep,
Okay, just a reminder.
so we're gonna put that down.
Yes, for the, yes, for the,
Right.
yep.
So
Uh,
what are the specifics? Used,
It's gotta be somewhere about
It's
2
gotta
years.
be an all-wheel vehicle. Okay. It can be a small SUV,
maximum 20 grand.
okay,
That's gonna be the hard part right there.
Yeah.
automatic,
that's all I know.
no chains,
Do we have what can we do if we run into a problem with used vehicles? Because they're going up like crazy right now. They're calling people, begging them, dealers to give them their used cars.
Yeah,
It's insane. So what if we run into a problem with a procurement policy to where it's already outgrown? The reality of the situation is already outgrown it. It's fast changing right now. It's fast changing.
it is.
Sometimes on a monthly basis, weekly basis. There's a lot going on.
Well, I
A lot
think
going on in the world right now.
If we find one
Yeah,
and it's 22 or
We can-
23.
we can revisit, yeah.
Revisit that and.
Yeah. As long as
Change it
it's-
and add on the extra
Yeah.
money.
yeah,
If we're looking somewhere in the age group, I would say nothing older than 2020,
Yeah, 2 years, not even.
2 to 3 years old.
There's some around. There's
Boy,
some
it's
around if you
boy.
look. We looked at, how many did you look at? I looked at. and I got that.
No, we're speculating.
There's that.
Dive into it, find out facts.
Got 150,000. It's all-wheel drive.
I paid 15,000 on my pickup truck, but that was 6 years ago.
I think it's under 10,000.
Okay, I don't know if we want to do anything about the garbage hauling truck. I'm not gonna bring that up again. And that's all I got.
The only thing I mentioned at the meeting was Steve Bury. He's agreed to become the court.
Court officer.
Court officer.
Court officer.
I told him it was $20 an hour. We spoke about that. And he might be interested in the constable job, but he's looking for a lot of hours. Or looking for a salary position, which we have. All our other constables, or so in some months you'll work a lot of hours and some months you won't work any. You gotta, we'll come up with that, but I want to start him on the court officer because we need that.
He's willing to do the
I
part,
thought he'd be here tonight. He said he might stop in to say, to tell you he agreed.
and that was who again?
Steve
Berry.
Urey.
Steve Beard.
Mike's brother.
He was,
Yeah.
corrections officer, so he's qualified for that kind of work.
I did forget something. I apologize.
Go ahead.
We want to have a public information meeting. Not an official meeting. I don't know what we want to call it on the Priscilla Corps. We'd like to have it the week of April 17th. Kind of a like a symposium or something like that, where we have 2 or 3 speakers come in. One would be the contractor. And so people can ask questions. Not an official public hearing. It wants to be an informal setting. So that people can
So we can do
can
that.
speak, so we can answer questions.
Who are we gonna have that knows the correct answers for everything?
Right,
Who is it?
well, the contractor is Glenn Sullivan, he's a licensed like
Okay,
manager, he's the guy we're paying to do the application, he would be one.
okay.
There are 3 or 4.
Cause I look at this whole situation as teaching the people, not telling them what we're going to do, but
Right.
teach them so they understand what's going to be done. Because if that isn't done, I think we'll run into some problems, myself personally,
There are,
because they have to know the ins and outs and.
there's 4, 5 other people that I'm gonna approach, I've already approached them, but the date is not set up that I wanted to invite. Steve McNally, the supervisor for the town of Minerva, has said he would come, but I haven't told him a date yet. They treated Minerva Lake back in 2020. But he's got some history he could share with you. There's a fellow named Dean Long, who's a lake scientist, that's involved with Saratoga Lake. I thought he does a lot of aquatic surveying. Paul Derby's the president of the Glen Lake Association. Glen Lake was treated a couple of years ago.
What's the last name?
Derby, DERBY. Eric Sage is the president of the Protective Association for Lake Sunnyside. They treated Lake Sunnyside last year. Not a long track history, but he can answer some questions. And also our own lake association would have at least one, probably 3 or 4 folks there who have been involved in taking care of Lake Luzerne for.
You know what I'm saying, Jim?
For 20 years, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just proving to you that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of these people can make a date that week. But you're absolutely right. The whole idea is to be objective. Not a sales pitch.
Right.
If somebody comes up with a problem that's really a legitimate problem, then we don't want to do the wrong thing.
Right, we want to address it.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Oh, by the way, I did get the contract and I'll email it to you to renew our harvesting.
Good.
Contract.
Same as last year.
Right, you may recall that when we put the RFP out last year, we asked for a 2-year price. Kind of did that for 2 reasons. One was to lock in the price and the other reason was to not have to rebid it.
Yeah.
And he is by the hour. I've spoken with him on the phone and said if we go ahead with the silica one, we only need you for a few hours. And he said, fine, if I work an hour, I'll bill you for an hour. So,
It seemed to work out very well last year.
yeah, good. Good guy.
Yeah,
So you're not gonna put it out for bid for somebody else?
they don't have to. It was a 2-year bid
I
situation.
mean, we can discuss it, but he's holding the price same
No
as last
sense,
year.
no sense. Move on.
That's gonna be a resolution.
Yes. Right, and I'll get Mary that contract. It's got the same contract as last year, just different dates. Sorry, I forgot that.
Oh, and I hope he starts a lot earlier this year than he did last year.
He started early, and then he went away.
Well, that's what I meant. Okay, excuse me.
Yeah,
Stay with it.
Yeah.
The break in between. The picking shouldn't have been done by then.
but there's 2 schools of thought. We can talk about that some other time. But there was an advantage to do it late in the year, and that's to see the results of. To see what's growing.
Okay.
Yeah. So by letting the weeds grow, it's easier to see what you missed.
The only problem is the seeds and everything, when you touch them, are now depositing.
Yep.
When you pick it when it's young, the seeds aren't on it, which we know, and you're not going to spread it.
Once it reaches the surface,
That is correct.
a couple weeks later, it goes to seed.
Goes to seed.
I have a few resolutions.
In August, it's gone to seed.
It's definitely got seed before he got in second.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to put a thing together with that Ed Larkins, that one that gave us a presentation last week, 2 weeks ago. Couple of business people are interested, chambers, I'm trying to get them. Even the Hudson Headwaters would like to sit in on that. They're, they're doing okay, but they're still not growing in this town. Or, I just
I've noticed
I
that.
just don't want to lose them, so any little bit we can help, some kind of a video like this on that TV8. She's got like quite a few people going on.
Somehow we gotta tell all the businesses in town that there's an opportunity.
Yeah, well, you were talking about the Hudson Headwater or this?
The video.
Yeah. Well, I'll go around and tell them all, but there's.
Yeah.
Some are interested and some aren't.
I spoke to Juan and he knew about it already. Just Adirondack Ventures, so.
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah, we talked about it. Only one sad news I gotta report to you guys. Folk school leader Scott is resigning. Taking a job in, I think Schenectady, the YMCA, twice as much pay. You can't, he's done a great job for 7 years. And right now they're gonna start looking for a new leader.
Is he gone already?
No, next Friday, not, today's what? Today's Monday, not this Friday, the following Friday. This is last.
First
day.
of the month then.
Mhm. And then he's gonna take a week off and then start a new job sometime in April. You can't blame him. I mean, making twice as much, he's got a family, kids, wants to move up in the world a little. He's done a great job here in this town, 7 years. But they'll keep going. He's got a good program going there. So I hated to see him leave, but not much we can do about that. All right, so I told you about Fury and the smoke school. That's about all I have, unless you got a couple of new
I do.
resolutions that have to go, on for next 2 weeks from now.
Okay. We're gonna need a resolution to accept minutes. That's the normal one. To pay the bills of the fourth abstract is another resolution. We need a resolution to reappoint Frederick Gillis as an alternate to the Board of Assessment Review for 1 year, and we'll need to do that at the next meeting to get it to the county, because I think there's training involved. This afternoon, Colleen gave us this resolution to allocate $3,000 from occupancy tax funds to the Lake Luzerne Music Camp. You can have this.
Did you say 2 or 3?
She said 3.
3, right, okay, that's it. No, I'm
No.
sorry, I thought you said 2.
And also another was this occupancy tax request for the snowmobile club. Correct?
And Mike Zone,
No, that goes to the county.
This is.
that's an application
This
for
is
us.
different than their county money.
Oh, that's right, they want, yeah, okay, yeah,
I
that's right,
see
you're
here
right.
on this application, amount requested 6,000.
Yeah, we give them every year 6,000.
So that's another.
That's another resident.
And that's the resolutions I have.
All right. Karen, anything you can add to that?
I have no resolutions that need to be done.
All right, and we're gonna ask for a attorney. You want to make sure I say this right?
Yes, a attorney-client privilege session.
We're gonna have that,
Now,
yeah, as soon as we close the meeting.
Have we made any headway, Gene, on the property up there at Fourth Lake, the road and all that? Lake Denard, I mean,
Which property number?
where the road's been blocked off,
Sure.
what the heck's the name
Oh,
of
that
it?
little
You mean Castner?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I spoke to him, he wants a meeting. He he doesn't live around here now.
yeah,
He's, gonna propose like a lease agreement for that piece of property so he can use it during the summer.
and that's also for the campers, right?
I don't know how much he's willing to say on that yet. I wanna get him in front of me, but, I'll probably, if I set up that meeting, I'll call somebody, to come and sit there. But that's our property. And, you know, it helps right now too, not only in getting people to the lake. It offers an opportunity to, fish hatchery, deliver fish to that lake. Unless we own a piece of property there, they won't drop any fish in that lake. So I think it's gonna work out good this year.
I just wondered how that progressed.
Yeah. Anything else?
Make a motion.
Second it.
You already,
I'll have to adjourn.
oh, to adjourn, yes.
Yeah.
All
Sorry,
in
thought you
favor?
were saying.
Aye.